Welcome back, everybody, to the Home Turf Podcast. It's me, Hunter Mitchell, joined by my co-host, Cade Harris.
Back again, doing a little bit. I would say a little less positive talk than our volleyball and our football teams so far this year. Talking a little A&M soccer.
Yeah, I mean it's been a lot of highs and lows.
Yeah, a lot of inconsistency.
A lot of inconsistency.
Not a lot of putting the ball into the net, which I'm not sure if you know this, Hunter, but that's pretty key in soccer.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like that's.
I mean, they did
that's
a lot
the biggest key. No?
I mean, they've done a lot of putting balls in nets against Grambling State and Texas Southern.
Yes, winning those games by both a margin of 18-0.
But yet, conference play, it's been
Different
a
story.
serious struggle. I mean, you pick up the win against Mississippi State. First off, you open conference play with a tie against Kentucky, which
Kentucky has
fine.
played 3 SEC games this year, and they have 3 ties. 3 ties. 1 tie against A&M, a scoreless draw against number 7 South Carolina, and then they tied Florida in Gainesville. Which,
yeah,
it's pretty good for Kentucky. They're not a good soccer program whatsoever. A&M has yet to lose to them since they've joined the SEC. So, but yeah, I mean, they have in 3 SEC matches for A&M, they have 2 goals, one of which coming as a PK. It's not a good sign.
No. I mean, you win at Mississippi State. That's big. That's really good for you.
That goal coming late in the PK. That was the
That's the one. But you gotta score in play.
Oh, for sure.
Like 100%. I mean, that Arkansas game, A&M loses 1-0, and it really felt like A&M had control the entire game.
It did. I was watching that one, and there were a lot of chances for them to score. It's the finishing that they just have trouble with. And they've had trouble with it the entire season. I mean, the first thing that I think of is that Florida State match. I believe it was Mia Pante just sailed one over the net she could have easily put it in, and so it's just a continued trend that this A&M team struggled with.
Yeah, and I mean, Coach G has talked about it a lot too. It's just and even like not only just finishing offensively but defensively as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, you're controlling the ball the entire game, and then you give up a late goal to Arkansas,
Which goes back to last year. Giving up these late goals.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's a mindset thing or if it's like a technique thing, or I don't
Just
know.
Getting tired. I don't know, a conditioning type of deal.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's hard to find answers, especially when you look and A&M has a young squad. Don't get me wrong. You got a lot of younger players, but then you have players like you've got your Mia Pantes, you've got your Miley Hayeses, and then you've got like
Micaiah McDonald.
Yeah, Jasmine Wilkinson. You've got a lot of really experienced pieces that you aren't. That just doesn't feel like they gel all the time.
No, and I mean, you definitely saw it that game on Sunday in front of all the Swifties. Did you see the line of people
Kylie told me
out
about
to
it.
Dude, I saw. I think it was Aggie Soccer posted it on Twitter, or somebody posted on Twitter the line of people out to get one of those shirts. And don't get me wrong, I am not a Swiftie whatsoever, and you have no idea how infuriating it was for me just scrolling on Twitter and seeing so many posts of Taylor Swift in the stupid suite watching Travis Kelce and the Chiefs, and then they had to ask Patrick Mahomes about it in the interview. I'm like, heck, they even asked Bill Belichick, who had nothing to do with that game, what he thought about it. I'm just like, come on now. But don't get me wrong, those shirts were sweet, and I totally would have waited in the line for it. Those were so sick.
I was waiting for the punchline.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that just maybe just about one of the only few things good you can probably take from that game.
Was those shirts, yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
You just keep waiting for it to click.
Yeah.
You think, man, 10-0, okay, this offense knows how to score, and then you're like, okay, conference win on the road, that's huge. And then you're like, okay, they're dominating this game. You're waiting for them to put something into the net, and it just crossbar. It's like it just is right there, and it just keeps.
And it's frustrating because Arkansas's a good team.
Yeah.
Number 11 in the nation in that game. I mean, if they would have won that one, we'd be talking, a lot more positively than we are
Yeah.
right now. And so, yeah, it's a frustrating team to watch right now.
Yeah, because they can get there. Like you really keep feeling they can get
You
there.
see it.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, that Florida State team's really stinking good,
Yeah.
and they could have tied them.
They should have tied them.
Probably. Maybe could have even won it if we talk about the finishing. If you finish
Yeah.
your chances, you could have pulled that game out. So, yeah, I mean, you see the potential. It's just not happening. You're not getting the results, and they can't finish at the net.
Yeah, and I mean, because that Arkansas team, like you mentioned, really good in the sense that that game prior. Let's see if I can pull it up. That game prior was like
5-0 against Alabama.
like a beatdown.
Number 9 Alabama.
Yeah.
Mopped the floor with them.
Yes. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, looking at their record, they're 7-2-1. Their 2 losses have come against powerhouses in the ACC, in North Carolina, in Clemson, all on the road. And so, yeah, that Arkansas team, you likely weren't going to win that game, but it's just how the game went kind of frustrates you about it.
Yeah. You I think that's a game you come in thinking that they're likely not going to win, but then the vibe of the game is that, like, it feels weird saying this because number 11 team in the country, they should have won.
Yeah.
Like, it really should have been probably closer to 3-1, maybe even 4-1.
Yeah.
But it ended 0-1.
Yeah, it's just story of the year for this team.
Because, I mean, in the SEC, like, you're going to give up goals unless you are, like, an absolute stud. And, I mean, not saying A&M doesn't, but I think A&M defensively has shown that they can step up for the most part throughout the game. And, like, I will excuse the later goals, more so because the SEC is going to be chock full of really good ball players.
Right.
And so giving up one goal in the game is not that crazy.
They've given up 2 goals in their 3 matches, yet they sit with only 1 win.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know. It's hard to find solutions to other than that. They've just got to shore up on offense. You've got so many really good weapons, like we said. It feels like a broken record, but
Yeah.
you just got to get it in the goal because it feels like that a lot of the misses are self-imposed. I mean, again, for that Arkansas game, it was like a crossbar fest. If you got points for hitting just the crossbar, A&M would have won like 12-0.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to fix that. I don't know if there is a fix to that. Like, you're so close, it just doesn't happen to be going in for this team. Like, it's a lot of bad luck, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean,
One.
and sitting at 5-4-2, it's a lot less conference games than it may one may hope.
I mean, they have only played 3, and they sit with 7 games left on the schedule.
Yeah.
So, I mean, your conference soccer season is a lot shorter compared to when you're talking about volleyball. So, the mistakes have to be a lot more limited, and your chances are a lot slimmer. And so, this team's probably not going to make the NCAA tournament if you look at it, unless they go on some type of hot streak. They're going to have to win a lot of these 7 games. I mean, probably 5 of them at least to have a chance at the NCAA tournament, and then they're going to need a good showing in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, I really think, looking at it, I think if this team wants to make postseason, you got to beat Ole Miss, got to beat Vanderbilt. You've got to take at least one from Alabama, South Carolina, and I think the other one can't be a loss. I think you have to tie.
Tie them.
I think you have to tie with one. I think you have to outright win the other.
Yeah.
Especially
with both of those being at home.
Yeah, and I think between Auburn, Tennessee, LSU, I think you can drop one of those maybe.
Yeah.
Like this team has,
and we say that that's going to be a major challenge.
That is borderline nigh impossible.
Yeah.
Like sitting at 5-4-2.
Especially like you said, way the season's been
It's
going.
either that or win the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
So I mean, you hate to cast aside this team, but they're gonna have to really, really win moving forward
Hmm.
if they want any aspiration to postseason play.
Hmm.
Um, which
And
again, like you hate to be the bearer of bad news there, but I mean, this team can. You look at them and you really feel like they can do that.
hmm.
It's just playing 90 minutes,
Hmm.
like finishing out games.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like looking ahead to Ole Miss, I mean Ole Miss is not a shoe-in victory either.
No, I mean, I feel like Ellisfield will be, pretty packed. It is the Turnip Gold match. That's always a match that draws a big crowd. Getting to bid on those golden jerseys at the end of the game, which are pretty sick, man. I would love to cop one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's gonna have to start in that match. You're gonna have to win that one. Ole Miss has looked they've looked okay this year. But luckily for them, luckily for them, I say luckily for them for the Aggies is Ole Miss is having trouble scoring as well. They've had 3 matches in the SEC and only 1 goal. That 1 goal happened to be against a pretty good LSU team. But since then, a 2-0 loss against Vanderbilt and then a 0-0 draw against Auburn. So I mean, this match might be first one to score wins.
That's if A&M can score.
Yeah, no kidding.
I
Yeah.
mean, it just it's frustrating to watch, knowing that this team can win. Um, but yeah, like we said, I think you have to beat Ole Miss. I think you have to beat Vanderbilt. You got to take one from South Carolina or Alabama, tie the other, and
And
then I
then
think you can only drop one against LSU, Tennessee, Auburn.
yeah, those road matches are brutal.
Yeah, and those
Uh,
are all on the road.
yep.
But I mean, that's kind of the position you put yourself in. I mean, like looking back on the season, should it beat Baylor? Should it beat TCU? It really should be. It really should be 7-3-1 right
Washington
now.
State's a good team, but you easily could have won that game as well.
Yeah, you look at maybe 8-2-1 right now. Um, it's
And then
just
who knows if you don't give up that goal against Florida State late.
yeah. It's there's a lot of big if
It's
ands and
frustrating.
buts. What does Luke always say? Like if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is with the soccer team. I mean, you're like, well, they could have done this and they should have done that, but they didn't. So now, like going forward, um, it's really crunch time.
It really
It's
is.
make or break. I mean, they're really gonna have to turn their shoulds and woulds to dids and cans.
Yep. I mean, like you said, just they put themselves in the situation. You should have won the game against Kentucky. Maybe should have gotten a point out of that Arkansas game, and now you didn't do either of those. So now you're left with this last stretch of games, and you're gonna have to be really really good in them to have a chance to play in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough road ahead, tough sledding for this team, and now it's going to be really crunch time to see what they're really made of. They're going to have to gel together really quickly, or just try to win that SEC tournament if they're trying to make postseason.
Yeah, and I mean A&M's no stranger to doing that.
Yeah.
Just unfortunately not with a team like this, and so yeah, it's maybe come SEC tournament they'll be finishing better, but just haven't been able to show that so far this year.
Yep. They've got to go out and they've got to start winning quickly. But
Hmm.
that is it for this episode. Thank you for listening to Home Tour Podcast. Once again, I'm Hunter Mitchell,
Cade Harris.
and we will catch y'all next time.